Hello, my name is Pat and I've been a member of Glengormley Methodist Church for over 40 years, since moving out to Glengormley shortly after being married. But I'm a Belfast girl, born and brought up in the shadow of Divis and Black Mountain. As a child I walked to school with the hills rising before me, drawing my eyes upwards. In the words of Psalm 121, the psalmist David writes, "I will lift up my eyes to the hills. Where does my help come from? My help comes from the Lord, the maker of heaven and earth." Such comforting words of reassurance to know that there's someone so much greater than I who is looking after me. My COVID journey began last March when we were in Spain visiting family. Within days, cafes, restaurants and schools were closing. It was time to change our travel plans and come home early. A difficult decision, as it meant leaving family behind, not knowing when we might see them again, but knowing that if we were to be confined, then we wanted to be at home. We managed to get seats on the last direct flight from Malaga to Belfast. It was so unreal, like an evacuation. We came home to 2 weeks self-isolation and then a full lockdown was announced. But as one door closes, another opens. With nowhere to go, I had time on my hands to spend on hobbies and all those jobs around the house that I had put off for so long. Being retired, I didn't have to worry about going out to work or mixing with other people. For a while, my greatest concern was whether I could get an Asda or a Tesco delivery slot. Of course, I missed seeing family and friends, especially the physical contact with grandchildren. But I have realised that it's not the material things I really miss. It's the things that money can't buy. The company of others, coffee with a friend, and of course hugs. Spring last year was one glorious, bright, sunny day after another. And living in the little village of Ballyrobert, I am surrounded by country lanes. So with my hubby as my walking companion, I explored the highways and byways surrounding my home. I watched the trees come into bud, then leaf, then flower. I listened to the birds whose song seemed so much louder than usual because there was no traffic. I marvelled at the wide open expanses of the sky and the wonderful views from the golf course over Ballyclare and Slemish to the north and Carnmoney and Cave Hill to the south and the east. Those hills again, surrounding me with God's presence and peace. Then the word Zoom entered my vocabulary, as we had Zoom church, Zoom quizzes and family time. Technology's a wonderful thing, and Zoom together with FaceTime kept me in contact with family and friends. However, like many people, I never expected or dreamt that this virus would be so devastating or last for so long. So it's good to be able to continue walking and watching the birds in the garden as they squabble around the bird feeders. The daffodils and the bluebells are pushing through the ground. Spring is just around the corner. I've always been an optimist, a glass half full person. I trust in the promise of Ecclesiastes 3. There is a time and a purpose for every season under heaven. This pandemic will pass and life will return to something more normal. The vaccines are being rolled out. In the words of a favourite hymn, "Great is thy faithfulness, O God my Father." Take care. God bless.